like my co-host Comrade Piwa has said, Kuti will have the two comrades, which are the two leaders from Eswatini and the PUDEMO, Secretary General Wandile Dludlu and our leader Sped for because this is a sensitive topic. Whatever they're going to say, it's their own opinion. Not Guti now Maswati bese sekayayithatha yayigucula. It's us asking them Guti where to from here, what will they advise us as leaders, what do they think bona? So ngicela kuba protector manje usengaqali.
No, lishonile Maswati lamahle. Siyabonga sihlalo. Siphinze sibonge nakuswazi Lives Matter nakutotonke tinhlangano leti khona la noma ke baholi labakhona la kule space lesibuso. Siyadusa futhi siyathokoza kakhulu kuba ingcenye yalo msebenzi wanamuhla naleminye lesike saba ingcenye kuyo idolo silalela inkulumo etakhako. Wandile Dludlu liswati nelitalo Maswati embabane esibhedlela njengawo ngemaswati ukhulela la eScotsini sasetiyeni ngalamgabhi tukwetini sabate mtsimba unatha umfula lothudane netindzaba la kuhle kulandwa khona tinkomo letimbotida mkhulu nagogo. Ufunza eSiria Primary School uyagcina ke so utawufunza edolobheni etikolweni letahlukahlukene. Lokumgcoka kakhulu ukuthi liswati phaca leli khuluma naleli phila Siswati. Namhla ke ngekukhula setinhlanganweni letiningi la khona sizabalaza khona sizabalazela inkululeko nenhlala kahle yesive seMaswati netitukulwane letidako. Ungeke ke umuntu adle isikhathi kakhulu ukuthi inhlangano lapha ekudo noma la kudo lokumgcoka nje ukuthi siyazabalaza ngaleto tindlela lesikhona kuzabalaza ngato ngoba siphokophele ukuthi lelive leli likhululeke libuyele libuswe ngeMaswati ngalokuphelele nesitibulane lesidabo sihlalo sikhanze live lelingcono noma belibuswa ngendlela lengcono kunaleli sikuyo namuhla.
So Mapalane Nopala would ask that you take us through some of the historical moments of freedom where post 1973, where the people were almost closer to defeating the real supremacy regime, leading us to what the logical conclusion would be at this point, in your opinion. Yes, please can I hand over to you, SG?
No, siyabonga sihlalo. Njengoba umuntu besa shito ukuthi uyabonga kakhulu kuba naleli thuba leli. Sihlalo ngicabanga ukuthi ngilungise amaphuzu lesitawukhulumela etukwawo langeke engcebo lasihlanu empeleni nakangekabe sithupha. Ngicabanga ukuthi sikahle masikhuluma Siswati sitawukhona kusicosha songana ngalula. Ngicela kwendvulela sihlalo lengcoco yami noma ke lengcoco yethu ngemagama lawe yakhulunywa ngulomunye lozabalazako evela lasemelika kuthiwa Angela Davis. What if masim quota uthi freedom is a constant struggle. That's the end of quote. Lokusho ukuthi umzabalazo ukuthi sidlubulunzele njalo. Umgcoka ke lokho ukuthi siku-understand ukuthi kusukela 1973 naphambilini solo sikulo mzukuzuku wekuthi kube nemizabalazo leyakha ukuthi kube nentuthuko nencubekela phambili etimpilweni debantu. Kwami mhlawumbe ngicela ngokuthi kuze sikhone kumconza kahle 1973 nalesifanele namuhla ukuthi sisiphetha njani le struggle njengoba ubutile sihlalo ukuthi how do we conclude noma ke pursue a logical conclusion. Ufuna siyilandze emuva ngoba yonke into inemnyombo wayo. Sayisuke sayikhethulu kunini lasingeke sikuconze kahle kanti masifuna kuyiconza kahle ufuna siyilandze kafishane bengingathanza siyilandze kungake fiki belungu futhi live laseSwatini noma leMaswati noma kaNgwane noma eSwaziland. Maybe eSwaziland vele siyibita eSwaziland ngoba sekufike belungu. Itolo ngayibita ukuthi kaNgwane nanamuhle empeleni utabe awusirong nokuthi kukaNgwane inalawo magama lawo nje. Umzabalazo wethu bukhona bukanjani kodwa ngenxa yesikhathi sihlalo ngicela kuyithatha kulo mzabalazo lapho khona silwa khona nembuso wamadlanga engwenye umbuso wala bondlebe ekhanyelanga the colonial struggle. Kuthi i-colonial struggle icala nini endi besizabalazela ini lokutabe seke kusenda sibuka 1973 lethi yena usifaka kumuphi umzabalazo lena namuhla sikuwo. Umzabalazo wethu lo wasenda sangavumelani nebelungu ukuthi ekufikeni kwabo ngabo 1844 nakufika ema-missionary bongosana baletha inkolo lesithithine lengolo lena sayithatha noma ke yafika ngeliphupho inkulumo lesitshelwa yona ukuthi yafika ngenkosi yafika ngeliphupho lenkosi somhlolo yathi asithathe umculo siyekele endilini. Around the same time kwaba nestory ngala emaXhoseni kwaba nestory lapho khona manje sengikhohlelela igama athi bekuthiwa ngibani but kwaba nestory lesiphosa sifana nongcawusi kwaba nestory sanongcawusi kunekufanana ke la kwetinto kwekuthi buze sichinje uphila kwethu kwanqandi siyekele tinkolo siyekele kakhulukati umnotho lesasisime kuwo lebelungu nabangenisa slavery batha basokola ngoba bakhanza a very solid societies in this part of the world. Wafuna ke basingene nabaholi kwaba nekuthengana nekuthengisana uthi baze bakhona bayathi usilabantu labakuze ubangene tawufuna ungene ngemakhosi abo ngoba bayawalalela. Now asidluleke esihlalo sami ngoba asikho lapho kakhulu ke belungu nabafika bongosana emva kwaloko kulandzela 1875 kufika lithimba lemabhunu lisuka eKurumani lishunqa ngetincola nakabhala Professor Thandabantu Nhlaphu encwadzini yakhe Marriage and Divorce in Swazi Custom uthi bafika laba belungu laba bahamba ngetingalishi letingatulu kwa-75 baphethe lonke lihlobo lwema-armaments lulusha babange lapho khona kune elithithini lesithi namhla kuselithithini bafuna umhlaba bafuna ama-minerals bafuna nema-rights ukuthi bakhona ukukhothisa tinkomo netimvu tabo. Yaqala lapho ke inhlupheko yethu sigijime ke ukuthi 1890 sekuyaqala vele inkinga seyiyanza kithi beSwati sekaqala uluza umhlaba wawo so umhlaba sowusikwa wendiwa emaplaza lokho kwase kwakha nema-tension between the royal family and the Boers as well as later on the British because sabe sesicala ku-interacta nemabhunu sabe sesi-interacta nemangisi. Now emangisi noma amangisi noma amabhunu the bottom line umbuso wamadlanga engwenye wasimuka tinto letinzathu lengifuna sithi record lengitilanzile lemlandweni wasimuka umhlaba wasimuka dignity, wasimuka self-governance. Saqala into letintsathu leti. Lokunye kungalandzela but nato tinto letintsathu. Letasilahlekela. Kungako nalo mzabalazo wa before 68 sithi sifuna umzabalazo wamasibuze. Usawuthema ngokuthi kwakungumzabalazo wamasibuse, self-governance. Ngetulu kwaloko kwakungumzabalazo wemhlaba. Ngoba bangisi nemabhomu afike adisikela lelive lethu. Dawukhumbula ukuthi labanye labantu umlando basilelive belilikhulu kwenqa beli times 5 times 6 leli ngiko namuhla. Ngenxa yokuthi lo mhlaba ke uyalahleka asayakhula ke tension. Even the royal house yaseswati wasn't very happy. 1927 inkosi lebebekwe 1928 esihlalweni. Nawufunza incwadi ya JSM Mathebula, The History of Swaziland. Lobeka private secretary for the longest time to the late King Sobhuza. Iyaveda kwekuthi nga-1927 makwakhiwa uqedza kwakhiwa i-royal capital, i-administrative capital yasobhuza. Bayeta batombuta ukuthi engwenyama sesiyicedzile ekhaya lakho la sisitobika ngabe utaletha uthi utalita ubitwa ngokuthiwa yini. Uyaletha Sobhuza uthi kuyawuba ngalozi kuyawuthiwa ngalozitha ehlezi. Nasabambuta thisho ukuthini ngonyama nawuthi ngalozitha ehlezi ake uchaze uthi sihleli ngihaya titha tethu letingamangisi lesihleli nato iminyaka nyaka kusuka ngema-1800s kodwa titha tethu ngokuthi tisimuka umhlaba solo tithembisa ukuthi titawubuyisa tiphinze tisimuka nemandla. Utawukhumbula ukuthi ngaleso sikhathi inkosi ebitwa ngeparamount chief unemlando do ukuthi sayiluza kanjani lento leyo ngoba kunebulinyana lobendeka ngesikhathi senkosi Bhuno lobasite mangisi ukuthi in fact kwaboshwa at some stage inkosi yaboshwa ePitoli yafakwa evenile enkalishini yaya ePitoli yathethiswa iqala lemeda indlovukazi labo Thibeni wakhipha umntwana inkosi Malunga ukuthi abahambe bayonegotiate kumangisi ukuthi inkosi ayiboshwa ngesiswati sakithi ngenhlanhla yabo bamkhipha but nasebamkhipha base babuya bashaya umthetho ukuthi angeke wena usaba inkosi so uyawuba iparamount chief so uyawuba bete amandla uprove kungakhona igranate into ngendlela yethu. So salahlekelwa ke yi-self governance kanjalo but also salahlekelwa neyidignity. Idignity lokwenteka wena namuhla lokuhlonipheka nje ukuthi sisive sihlonishwe ikakhulu kade ngilabo labasembusweni. Now asinonopheke sihlalo ngoba isikhathi sethu side. Umzabalazo wamahla umzabalazo wekuthatha live noma ke wekubusa live uyachubeka ngama-60s. Live lemangisi liyaqala akusalungeli libuya ku-Second World War alisakhona i-afforda kurana ema-colonies seliya accede to the demand for self-rule in various African countries. But also umzabalazo waseSwatini yashisa nawo ngaleto tikhathi. I think in the 60s you will remember umzabalazo wabombondo ngelanga wa-64 nemizabalazo leminingi leyabanga ukuthi kuthilike ama-Golden Highlanders eTela-Swatini. Which at that stage bekude riot squad though i-police force beyikhona but beyingakhona ukudila nema-riots. Wafuna kulandwe what was called the Golden Highlanders from Kenya to deal with ama-rioters. Now into lenye lamfuna sihlalo ngingakagijimi ngite la singayishiyi le historic about the Swazi struggle and the Swazi leadership is that ngaleto tikhathi tema late 1800s and early 1900s lamanye makhosi in the region rose against the British and the Boers. They challenged colonialism. Ungako lokwabanga tinkosi letiningi tiyohlala eRobben Island. Inkosi Mampuru kunemlandvo lonjalo. Kunenkosi Inkosi Chief Bambata, the leader of the 1906 Bambata uprising, who challenged the British against hard tax, what is called Impia Makanda, which is a precursor to the 1912 Native Congress, otherwise today commonly known as the African National Congress. This is the rise of black people and Africans in particular against colonialism. Let's briefly look at, did the Swazi monarchy rise against white domination? The truth of the matter is, it never. Instead, it collaborated. Though it was unhappy about the behavior of the Boers and the British, and remember, the British in our context, who were at the front of leading colonialism or a protectorate, whatever you call it, came from Scotland. Came from England, yes, but Scotland in particular. And Labolabati history will tell you, that's why the longest serving British High Commissioner was John Dobbles. John Dobbles comes from Scotland. It's because he comes from Scotland. And Emaswati interfaced with British, but most particularly, the Scottish. And the Scottish are said to be the least developed and sophisticated people or parts of the British Empire, which informs their lack of interest in so-called colonial development of the colony and many other things. But I wanted just to note, monarchy from the days of Ulabotsibeni, Mbanzeni, to Sopuza, to Mswati, never rose against colonialism. Instead, collaborated with colonialism and struck a relationship. Unlike other true African traditional leaders who organized and challenged colonialism and even were prepared to die at Robben Island, but these ones never did that. Now let's come to 1968, the victory. What did it mean and to who? The 1968 independence. The 1968 independence is a culmination of a struggle. This is decades from the early 1920s, where the struggle against colonialism then it matured or climaxed in and around 1960s, particularly 1967 and 1968. Now, you see, a much more organized black middle class traditional strata strikes a deal with the British elite, and under a guise of a constitution, we get so-called independence. But very soon, Sopuza lophile impilo yakhe leningi ayi-paramount chief angishi ayinkosi but angakhoni ku-exercise fully uba inkosi, is now threatened by the existence of a new Africa, an Africa where there is democracy. But you will remember the early part of democracy in Africa came through one-party states. The post-colonial Africa was immediately in the hands of what you call one-party states. And the one-party states, again, were viewed as an enemy of the monarchs. They said to have abdicated the monarchs lamaning across Africa. So Sopuza is extremely worried. Though he's happy to see through a process, election, resist but through a constant advice of Boers and British friends, whom he historically and generationally they have maintained. He gave an experiment because they kept saying to him, party let us support on win. And indeed, 2 elections proved them right. That's why Mbowoto won so-called 100%, and think for the second time in 1967, if I remember, 1972. 1967. It was until 1950, 1972 laya qala khona kungawini 100%. That was enough scare for Sopusa. That is basically how 1912 April happened. There are three things that Ibanga Sopusa athathe the April 12 route. Others can come. One, it was his fear of his position, of losing his position, where ube inkosi from 1921, but wangabi inkosi, waba iparamount chief. Wangakhona enjoy the so-called full powers of being a monarch. But secondly, the threat to the existence of monarchs being wiped away by one-party states was something lebe kahlala njalo imcedzela buthongo nakalele. The third issue was the influence of Boers, where Emabunu were threatened by the emergence of the PAC, the PAC igcwale yonke le region, the Pan-African Congress of Azania, the ANC, and its military wings. They're all over. So they were closing space, and Sopusa economically relied a lot between these two classes, the Boers of apartheid and the British colonial masters or imperial agents. So every time, Namswati phila ngawo namuhla, the relationship, the clandestine relationship that exists between these three forces, the Boers, the British imperial elites, and the Swazi monarchy. From even today, those are the biggest enemies of the Swazi people and the Swazi progress. Now, April 12th, ayavalwe party because the opposition opens the floodgates, according to the Boers, particularly George de Vries, who was a legal advisor given to Sopusa by Emabunu, who has been a close advisor to legal advisor to Sopusa on behalf of Emabunu. Now, lo sekwendeka ke la wena esihlalo nelibandla 1973 uyayichinja fundamentally ipolitiki yaseSwatini, uchinja futhi nebukhosi abusabi ngolubukhosi according to Swazi customary law that over years and over generations or centuries we have known it to be. Inkosi itolo ayengibekise nje into lelula, inkosi ngumlomo longaqali imanga kunaleyo nkulumo leyo. The customary Swazi customary explanation of inkosi ngumlomo longaqali imanga yayitolo beyithi inkosi live ayilibusi yodwana, ilibusa ngemabandla. Emabandla aleti lama clans that make up the Swazi people, the Swazi nation. Even emabandla ayo, ikhetha amadoda which may be patriarchal, of course, emadoda laqotho nalaqatha. Lakungona atawu advisor inkosi, lekungona atabokhuluma indzaba temhlaba ikakhulukazi imncele la kungathi kunemibango khona, latabokhuluma emaqala lamatima lavelako eveni noma ke kuthethe emaqala, latabokhuluma inhlala kahle yesifi. Lawo mabandla lawo ayawubese amikisa indzaba enkosini. Ifike inkosi ibude kuthi okay nivumelene lonke amabandla confirm, bese ithatha lelivumelene ngako seyiyakukhuluma esifeni. Kuthiwa ngaleso sizathu ingumlomo longaqali imanga. He is simply the mouthpiece of the nation. Namuhla Mswati ungumlomo longaqali imanga ngento leqathekekile lethi Mswati uthi sonke asibinza sikwati ukukhuluma sikwati ukucabanga asiyati future yale live sitawuva ngaye nefamily yakhe. Umlomo longaqali imanga namuhla means that, yet customarily that was not what it meant. Now, sesikule problem leyo ke namuhla ukuthi sekune family courtesy of 1973 lesengiyona inema say believe ukuthi one italwa ihlakaniphe kunathi sonke. 2, ngiyo leyawati ama-interest ethu sonke ukuthi loku better and best for us as a nation ngikuphi. Ngaleyo ndlela leyo-ke lobutsotsi lobendeka between the 2, the 3, the British, the Boers, Boer elites, African Boer elites, British imperialists, who have mutated lately to a different feature, courtesy of course of globalization and of course a different level of material development of capitalism. They say it's purely of British imperial force, but it has become something different. But basically, Mswati has become a gatekeeper of the interest of few foreign, of a class that one is foreign, but also is of business and of political level. Umsebenzi wakhe nyalo, because of 1973, is nothing but just that. Tinkundla siqala kudiva nga-1978. Qala nje ukuthi kunento lokuthiwa tinkundla. Nathi qala tiqhamuka as if i-electoral system as well as a developmental model. But the truth of the matter is, in clear political terms, tinkundla is a supremacy and the domination of the Swazi people by the institution of the monarchy, which is the enemy that we must attack and that we must destroy and dismantle if we are hoping to change this country. If we don't confront the power that has been amassed by the monarchy courtesy of this political system called Tinkundla, singayenda yonke change, sibite whatever name, it will have not changed anything. Ngifuna kuya ngasekugcineni ngesihlalo ngithi embili sibheka njani kufanele sendeni mbambamba. Mhlambe kokuqala, one must give salute to the Swazi people that over the last 4 or 5 decades, the struggle has really intensified. The level of awareness and consciousness has been improved a lot. Ikhulile lizinga leMaswati ukuthi avuleke emehlo. Suke lentweshu abone, avuke emaqanseni, aqale kukhona ku-challenge. Leto tinto leto tibangwe into letiningi. Azo baSwati asukuma a-challenge abo-chief laba evicta abantu on behalf of umSwati nabo netinkampani letinkulu nabo somabhizinisi labakhulu, ngoba bantu labaxosha abantu emhlabeni lakangwane i-monarchy, uhulumende nama-business individual laba-owner umhlaba. Nabo bantu labahlala bayinkinga. And again, interestingly, Chairperson, 1973 takes us back to land, dignity, and self-governance. Ungalandzela lokunye. Isibisela back to square one, if not worse, in Zabaya 1973. Now, bengisathi kutaba mcoka ukuthi si-acknowledge tithukuthukuthe eMaswati lamaningi lamanye labhadele ngetimpilo tawo azabalaza kungakabi fashionable. Sonke emehlo ethu asengakabona sengakavuleki. Baningi lesingababala lokufuna singabakhohlwa sihlalo. You have your Prince Dumisa under the NNLC in the 60s. You have Prince or Princess Betusile who risked royal privileges and challenged his father against oppression. You have Dr. Zwane, the leader and the founder of the National Liberatory Congress. You have the leader, Lubega leader, progressive, this was a progressive party, Comrade J.J. Ngungu. You have many other Swazis who emerged. You have in the 80s the emergence of PUDEMO and its founder leaders, particularly the likes of Comrade Mario Masugu, the likes of Comrade Mandla Hlachwago, the likes of Comrade Ray Racine, and many others. You have the trade union, a transformer from being a white collar, nice, good boys and good girls culture to a revolutionary challenging force, particularly under the leadership of Comrade Janice Sithole, Comrade Vincent Tongwane, may their soul rest in peace. We must honor these comrades. These are our heroes. These are our heritage.